Mundo in the Morning. Now on FM at 95.7. Set a preset on your radio.
Every Friday, we like to wrap up the week with an in-studio half-hour guest, and we are happy to make it Bill Maas, new inductee to the Chiefs Ring of Honor, joining us on KCMO. Bill, good morning. Thanks for being here, my friend.
Pete, thanks for having me in, buddy. You know, I'm a regular listener.
I appreciate that very much.
I flip back and forth real quick with sports, of course.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're kicking their butts in this Chiefs Royals story. I'm just going to say that much, especially this morning.
Oh, you guys are on it. Yeah, no doubt about it. That's
crazy.
Interesting. Crazy stuff.
We'll get to all that, but let's start with you. Ring of Honor inductee, that was maybe 2-3 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
How's it feel, and how was that moment for you?
Oh, Pete, my whole life has changed.
I'm sensing sarcasm.
Yeah, I don't have to cut the lawn anymore. My wife does it.
Yeah.
No.
You're you're the 50th person in the Ring of Honor? There's not a lot of Chiefs to be in that Ring of Honor.
Since 63, over 3,000 players have come through. So, you know, it's pretty cool. You know, a lot of teams do things differently. The Chiefs really approach it as a family kind of deal. They have probably the largest Hall of Fame next to the Packers, I think. But they go out of their way to make sure that everybody feels good about themselves and being a part of the Chiefs organization, no matter at what level you are. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, what for you? Who called you? How'd you find out the news that you were going to be in the Ring of Honor?
So, yeah, that was kind of funny. I was actually showing a building, and I got a phone call, and I didn't recognize the number. It was someplace in Texas, and I'm like, oh, I'll let it go. And they left a message, and I got done. I listened to the message. It was Clark Hunt. And I was thinking, wow, what does he want? Maybe he wants that land up at Shoal Creek on 435. I have 500 acres up there. Maybe he wants to build a stadium up there, right?
Yeah. That's where my mind would go, too.
And I called back, and he got on, and I was in my car. And when he told me, I was like, I got emotional. I really did. I said, hang on a second, man. I got to pull over. Mm-hmm. And I pulled over into a shopping center parking lot, and we had a conversation. But, yeah, it was really something else. It was moving. It means a lot. When a guy tells you, hey, we want to tell you that you're our 2025 Ring of Honor recipient, that was powerful.
Now, I'm sure it's something that was always in the back of your mind, right? But when you finally get the call, I mean, you're not losing sleep over it, but listen, you had a great career here.
Actually, I did lose a little sleep over it.
You were losing sleep over it, leading up to the call or after the call?
Hey, you know, you think about those things because when you're competitive and you're in that business, you're always like measuring yourself.
Yes.
Like, where am I? Whether you're playing as a team or you want to know where you are. Mm-hmm. Accolades and honors and those things are all great, but then it comes to that time, like, was I good enough?
Yeah.
Or did I just think I was that good?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so, it's kind of it puts a validation on what your thoughts were and what you think of your career.
So what was the event like itself?
Well, we didn't have – they're going to do something – now that the schedule's out, they're going to pick a game that's going to be Alumni Weekend.
Okay.
And they're going to honor me at halftime of a game and unveil my name up on the ring at halftime. So that'll be sometime this fall, which will be an exciting time, and I can bring my family in and they can be there. So that'll be really neat. But over the draft weekend, they had a dinner over at Arrowhead at a club that I didn't even know exist. They have like a speakeasy in that place.
Really?
Yeah. It was like, what?
Now I know where I got to figure out where to go next time.
Yeah,
I'm there.
It was really cool. And they had a chef come in, and they said, hey, invite some of your teammates. And I did. Most of the defensive line guys, and Mike Bell, Art Still, Neil Smith, and Ken Kramer, Dino Hackett came in. And they had a real nice dinner for us. And then we put us on a bus the next day, and we went out to the chicken and pickle deal because they couldn't do the Fan Fest at Arrowhead given the construction inside.
Oh, yeah.
But, it was a real nice occasion. Like I said, they do everything. When they do it, they do it top notch.
Now, you come here in 1984, and you've now been here for 40-plus years. They can do the math themselves.
Yeah.
But
long time.
What made you say to yourself, hey, playing for the Chiefs, and like a lot of former players for the Chiefs and the Royals, I'm staying here in Kansas City, even though you're from suburban Philadelphia?
Right. Yeah. Well, two things. One, of course, when you're entrenched in the city and you make it home for the 10 years that you're here, you just become part of the city. You get involved with things. I was doing radio and television and had football camps and all the different things over the course of time. My kids are entrenched in school and they have friends, and there really wasn't a thought about it. I mean, Kansas City was home, and the people of Kansas City, I think it says enough. The Chiefs Kingdom, especially your friendships you build at the times that you're here. I think that's why you see so many Chiefs and Royals, like you said, keep their home here and want to live in Kansas City. It's great. You're 2 hours anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. In the middle of the state, in the middle of the country, and it's just a great place to be, and the people are outstanding.
Did you have any question when you retired as to whether or not you were going to stay, or was it just assumed and you knew you were staying?
I really did. I thought about it a few times, like, when you're done playing, you're like, well, what am I going to do now? But I was fortunate enough. I worked at Channel 4 and worked in radio the whole time I was playing, and I transitioned, and I got the opportunity to start broadcasting again real quickly, and I got into broadcasting at games with Fox, and that took me all over the world with NFL Europe, and then living in L.A., doing studio shows, and it's back and forth. But, yeah, so I was here. My home was here, no matter where I traveled and what I did during the weekends.
So what about the moment you knew you were done? Was there a moment at the end of your career when you're like, all right, I got to check out. This game has passed me by. Is there a moment where guys have that
Yeah, I think
time?
there is. For me, I always go back and say when it got tougher to get up off the ground. You know?
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, it really was. Your injuries pile up, and you used to just throw yourself at people and hit and bounce up off the turf like it didn't mean anything. Then you got up to one knee and one hand and push yourself up and take a big and go back to the huddle. Yeah, you kind of think about it. But I'll tell you that I'd started every game that I played in. And so at this time when I retired in 1994, they started platooning defensive linemen. I didn't what? Well, if I've got to just rotate, then I'm not good enough to play anymore. I was thinking in my head. And I said I could have probably milked it for a couple more years, but I said, you know what, I'm just going to go. But I didn't. No one ever sat down and say, hey, this is what the league's doing now. We're going to this trend. We're going to rotate defensive linemen because the passing game is becoming so much more of the game itself that we're just going to pass rush. You go these two series, they're going to go the next two series. You rotate in, rotate out, and I didn't see that or understand that coming because I played every snap, every down, every game, and that change was like, man, that coupled with the injuries, it keep piling up. I just thought it was time to go, and I don't regret it. I didn't think that it didn't matter that I didn't play another 2 years or whatever I thought I could have got out of it, but I just moved on with my life.
Yeah, and clearly a lot of success, obviously. You mentioned the broadcasting, now working with our mutual friend David Block on the real estate side, and, things are going great for you. So when you look on your post-playing days, what was that moment like when you retired and for the first time since you're probably, a kid, you're not preparing for the next season of football? It sounds, and a lot of pro athletes say it's difficult. So what was it like for you?
Really hard. And anyone that says it's difficult is just fluffing it. It's hard because that's what you do since you were a kid. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and that's a part of your fiber. And all of a sudden you turn around and you're in your mid-30s when you're retiring from one and looking to another avenue to do something. There's a big question mark that hangs over everybody. I don't care what they say or what plans they have or what. I mean, it's a big transition from the locker room to whatever you're going to do next. Because here's the thing about what I was doing. I knew my opponent because he was right across from me. I could see him. I could watch film on him. I could study him. I knew what I was competing against. When you go out into the workforce, you have no idea what you're competing against.
That's a great point.
You can get blindsided from anywhere. You might be going on a good path. You may think you got your business going in this direction. Boom, you get blindsided by somebody that's been targeting you or your position or your company or whatever it may be, and you weren't prepared for it. And so to me, that was one of the things that was eye-opening to me.
and you've got a blank slate, I mean, to use that analogy, you don't even know what sport you're technically playing.
No, absolutely not.
You know, I mean, is it figure skating or football? What am I doing here?
Yeah, you have to find out and figure out how to hit differently than you know how to hit.
Yeah. Wow, that's a fascinating angle. We've got Bill Maas here. He is the new inductee into the Chiefs Ring of Honor. We're going to take a quick break with him, come back, and talk much more about his career, his post-playing days, and also just get his thoughts on the future of Arrowhead Stadium. All coming up on KCMO. We are in studio with the newest inductee to the Chiefs Ring of Honor. Bill Maas is here on KCMO Talk Radio. So, Bill, what's it like when you're at Arrowhead Stadium? Obviously, you were there for the resurgence of the team after some dark times. How loud does it really get when you are on the field at Arrowhead Stadium?
Well, I can tell you I have tinnitus in my ears to this day. Yeah, and I don't know where else I could have gotten it from.
Wow.
That stadium, if you're talking about the decibel point, I mean, you've seen the footage of John Elway and the crowd noise where it was deafening. You couldn't hear. It was fun. It definitely gave the defense a shot of energy. But yeah, that crowd noise, it's for real.
When you're on that line of scrimmage then, and the crowd is that loud, and obviously you're on defense, the home crowd's cheering for you, what is the offensive line and the quarterback doing in that moment to try to hear the quarterback snap the ball?
Well, they've changed. They try to do the silent count now and do it by rhythm.
Yeah.
They look in at the center and he'll tilt the ball one way, and then they all get down, they're ready, and it's a count like 1, 2, or they hold hands. But, I mean, you could see the look in their eyes when they used to be, before they got to those things, when they had to try to hear the quarterback's cadence. They couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating for them. They'd come to the line of scrimmage, they're looking back, and then they would jump off sides. They didn't know. It was just a matter of guessing for them. But it was fun for us.
How does it sound different now that, you go to games, you're in the crowd? Is it a different sound in the crowd versus being on the field? How is that different, if at all?
Well, I think being on the field, you're in the middle of it. So I think it just comes down from all angles, and that's where the power is, and I think that's where they measure that noise from too, because that's where it's most potent. I think when you're on one side or the other, you're just kind of in the mix of it. You can't hear the other side of the noise; you're just hearing noise around you. But in the middle of the field, it's powerful. Now I've been on the other side of that too.
Yeah,
and like in 1985, it was so bad that we didn't have anybody coming to the games, right? And so I could actually hear the offensive play getting called in their huddle. I'd stand over the ball and I'd look, and there's XY 27 on two. And I'm like, all right, baby, let's go. I mean, you're talking about getting off the ball. Yeah. They'd be watching film the next day, like, gosh, dang, Bill, how come you're getting off the ball so fast? I got the snap count.
Well, John Anthony was at the games. He was there.
He knows. Yeah, we were talking about that back there.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So what about now? I mean, listen, we all are following the conversation around what the future is of these two teams in Kansas City, where they're going to play. Do you have a take, just as a guy who's obviously grown up with this stadium and seen it firsthand as you have, where you want to see this team go, what you want them to do?
Yeah, well, I don't know where it's going to go. I'm a traditionalist, though, I can tell you that. I'd like to see something get done to keep Arrowhead here, put a new stadium together there. If the Royals leave, I think that would benefit them the most. They can do what they want and put hotels and a new complex and offices and all the things they need. And last that was built, I think that was 1990, I believe, when they moved down to the practice field and then built those offices down there. So it's been quite some time, and it's due for an upgrade. And they've got a lot more employees than they did back then, and they need more room. So I think for me, I would like to see that occur. I think it would be, it would be heartfelt if they went to Kansas. In my opinion, that's just for me. I to go over there and build and try to make a new home over there when your home is your home. It would kind of be like your parents and the place you grew up, and all of a sudden your parents say, "Hey, we're leaving, and we sold the house. It's no longer ours, and we're going over here." And you're like, "What? No, that's our home." Wait a second, Mom, Dad. Hang on, let's rethink that. It's kind of the same feeling.
Mm-hmm. So now it's like, obviously it's all the conversation in this town, and people are thinking about what makes sense. Do the players care about any of this, or do they just kind of like, they do?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, you've seen some of the reports, the players' reports on how they feel about, they take a poll of players around the league and what they feel about their infrastructure, their locker rooms, their treatment areas, their doctors.
Yes.
They fill out these polls, and, we haven't had glowing reviews, I would say, from the players. So, yeah, I think they feel it. And they, if you're the best, you want everything around you to be the best, too. So guys like that. All the frill and the glitz, they like that.
That's more about the amenities versus, let's say, the game day experience on Arrowhead, which it seems like they love.
Yeah, because of the area, and that's tradition.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. I mean, you don't want to, you're always saying you don't mess with tradition. When that's there and it's in place and it's been advantageous for such a long period of time, do you really want to risk that?
Mm-hmm. Bill Maas is here. You and Andy Reid go back, huh? What's that relationship?
Andy, I had a football camp in the 80s into the 90s, youth football camp here in Kansas City, and Andy worked it for me. When he was the offensive line coach down at the University of Missouri, he came up and worked it with a couple other assistant coaches. And, we go back sometime. And then when he was in Philadelphia, I got done playing. I was up in Green Bay with him when I went to Green Bay for the first year of free agency with Reggie White and Brett Favre. Andy was on that staff there. And then he left and took the Philadelphia job, and I was broadcasting at that time. And I did a lot of those Philly games, and we had, good connection. And he had a show down there, and I was on his show quite often on radio, the Andy Reid show, their coach's show. Or, because getting Philly fans on board with you when you're not winning, that's a tough hurdle. And so anything I could do, whether I'd be broadcasting the game or on the radio with them, to try to get my hometown to say, hey, guys, you need to buy into this.
So you were a Philly guy trying to make sure that town was embracing Andy Reid, who really had no ties to the area, the city. I mean, he was, BYU, Mormon, everything else.
Right. And so it's hard to Philly fans are tough. It doesn't matter how good you are. I mean, they'll get pissed off at everybody for some reason, right? So any angle could help. And I remember I did a game down there, and they just drafted Donovan McNabb, and they had Doug Peterson was starting because they just wanted Donovan to get used to what we're doing here, take it all in before you just throw him into the fire. Kind of like what he did with Patrick Mahomes here with Alex Smith. So they lost the game. It was tough, and everybody's calling for Donovan McNabb. You drafted him number one, play him. And I said at the end of the game something to the effect, hey, Philly fans, I know you're frustrated. I feel your frustration, but you got to stay with this guy. He's going to turn this program around. You're going to be happy. The next morning, I got ripped so hard in the Philadelphia Inquirer and, WIP.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, WIP just killed me, man.
Monster, massive sports radio station. I can't, Howard Eskin, all those guys. Angelo Cataldi was the morning guy for 40 years. Well, you know what? You got the last laugh on that one, Bill.
Yeah.
You did, man. You did.
And even when he left Philadelphia, they were still on him.
Yeah.
Even though he went to all those NFC Championship games and went to the Super Bowl and lost, they were still on him hard, and they wanted him gone. But, 10, 12 years in one place is a long time, and sometimes that message gets old, but it benefited for us out here, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did. Ain't that the truth? Bill Maas, newest inductee to the Chiefs Ring of Honor, here for our Feature Friday on KCMO. Bill, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it, my man.
Thanks, Pete.
Outstanding.
Thanks for having me.